My name's Darryl Chan, and I'm here to do a little talk on the Break It Down show.
And now, the Break It Down show with John and Pete.
So I've been chasing Darryl around since we met a couple months ago up around San Francisco, and we got a few mutual friends.
Yeah. Richard Guan called me.
Yeah.
And he's the one that introduced us. Yeah, I just happened to be in town that week doing a TV show.
Oh, what were you doing?
That one was a new show called Sense8. And I've never seen it, but it's supposed to be pretty new. And he just called me up. Rocky Capella, the stunt coordinator of that show. I've known him for quite a number of years.
Okay.
And I'm originally from San Francisco. So.
Is that how you and Rich knew each other? You're from San Francisco?
Yeah.
Rich has been on our show, too. His episode was, I believe, 71? 70?
Yeah, something like that. 70, 71.
Yeah.
In there.
So go back and listen to that. He's a fascinating dude. But Darryl is a Hollywood stuntman and a hell of a fighter.
Yeah.
And he's got a few years on him, but you should not have fucked with him.
And you would not know he's got a few years on him. You look like $1 million.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll pay you your $20 later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What he meant was green and wrinkly.
Yeah. Darryl's wearing a muscle shirt and he ain't fucking around.
Yeah.
He's actually wearing muscles.
He pulled up to the joint in the Hummer and he got out with a muscle shirt on, and nobody thought twice about leaving him alone
that
about
guy's
the
cool.
shit.
Yeah.
Well, I wore this shirt because it's like 90 degrees out now.
It
too.
is.
It's hot as
It
hell
is
out
hot,
here,
yeah.
and it's November.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hey, man, that's California. So
That's true.
You never
You've
know.
been down here for a while, though.
I've been down here. I moved down here May of '86.
Oh,
So
okay.
just made 30 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't believe it myself. But I go home quite often, visit family. Most of my brothers, I have two brothers up there in San Francisco. One lives in Florida now, but the bulk of my family, like cousins and all, are in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
We're spread out from Hawaii all the way to like New York, but San Francisco, the Bay Area is where most of us
That's
are.
home base.
Yeah, that's home base.
Okay.
Yeah.
What moved you down here?
Thought I'd give the stunt business a try.
So this was the plan when you were in San Francisco.
Yeah, actually, I grew up playing music.
Okay.
The two things I did a lot of when I was growing up was playing music, and that's how I met Richard Guan. We played actually in different bands, but there's a whole circle, that whole
Became
circuit.
competitive.
Yeah.
Frequented the same kind of joints. You're like, oh, you played
Yeah.
there? Yeah, we played there last weekend. Kind of
Or
thing.
play gigs together, the bands together.
Mm.
So we go way back. I've known Rich for over 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I moved here in '86,
Mhm.
and that's when I got into this business.
Yeah.
For a while, and still every now and then I'll go back and I'll sit in with like my brothers or friends.
You still play?
That's not like before.
Yeah.
I used to blow that horn every day. I played the trumpet.
Yeah.
And now it's like whenever I get a chance, I'll turn on my stereo, pull out the horn, and
Go
I'll play
after it.
along with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't want to really lose the chops.
Sure.
That is a perishable skill, man, especially the trumpet.
Yeah, it's very physical because,
Yeah.
it's all right here on your lips. Whereas with the saxophone, you have the reed
Yeah.
where, that vibrates and you can play that all night.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
People that we've had on who know Mick Gillette, who's on our show, they've talked about him and the physicality he had when he played. Like his lungs were bellows, and you just watch him expand.
He was a barrel-chested dude.
Yeah.
yeah, Mick Gillette, he was one of my heroes.
Sure, right.
Yeah,
yeah,
original
sure.
Tower of Power.
Right.
And he also
exactly.
played with Cold Blood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so sad that he had just passed not too long ago.
Yeah. It was sad.
Yeah, we had Mick on the show, and he never really stopped, and he continued to just teach and play and spread the love, and it was just one of the highlights of our show, really, for us, was getting to know Mick
Yeah.
quite a bit.
I never really got to meet him. I know the other founders of the band, Emilio Castillo,
Yeah.
Steve Doc Kupka,
Kupka, yeah.
Greg Adams.
Mm-hmm.
So these are friends of mine. I know a lot of guys that have come and gone with the
From the
band.
band, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the horn players.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Bowes, who used to sing, was one of their lead singers. He's actually their only white lead singer.
Their only white lead singer.
Yeah, the only white one. Yeah, he's a good buddy. He's back in New York now.
We keep trying to get Michael Jeffries on the show. He's trying to work schedules out, and of course Lenny. We'd love to have Lenny on the show. We talk about him every
Lenny Pickett?
fifth or sixth show.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah. But if 30 years ago you had known that you would still be in the stunt business today,
You know, I never really thought, it would be that long. When I first came down here, I said, okay, I'm going to give it a shot.
Right.
If it doesn't work out, move back home to San Francisco and keep
when
playing my
you're-
horn.
yeah,
When you're in San Francisco and it's 86, so you came of age in, the Evel Knievel, the crazy stunt era,
Yeah,
where the,
yeah.
Fall Guy was a show, all those kind of things. I mean, that had to have spoken to you a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah. That time there were a lot of action shows compared to nowadays. I mean, there's a lot of reality shows.
yeah,
And a lot of things that hurt us too, is like a lot of CGI stuff like that, I mean, they still use stunt guys, stunt girls, but a lot of times they can get away with so much of the, the CGI animation and all that.
yeah.
But you can tell,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you
when,
can.
when they use that.
Yeah. Yeah, but you had shows like Chips and A-Team and so many shows.
Yeah,
Like,
Starsky and Hutch.
yeah,
and
I
all
mean,
that.
every episode of Chips had a wreck on the 405,
Yeah.
or every week there's a
Yep.
car flipping upside down to open the
Right.
show. Like every goddamn week.
Yeah.
So
And that was one of many shows too.
Yeah, yeah.
Dukes of Hazzard.
right,
All that
tons
stuff.
of stunts in those
Yeah.
shows. So were you doing your own stunt? Like I want to jump off of stuff as a kid, kind of thing, and
I was pretty
Snap.
crazy when I was a kid. We used to jump roofs and stuff like that.
sure.
It was like, that's before the word parkour came
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
You
Yeah, it was just called jumping off of shit. Yeah.
Until my grandma caught me on a roof and, I got grounded.
That was that.
Right.
Yeah, that was that. No more doing that.
How did you get into business, man?
Well, I got into martial arts because,
Yeah.
like I said, the two things I did growing up was music and martial arts. And
You never actually got to the second thing. We kept cutting you off. But the
that's
second
okay.
thing was you're a lifelong martial artist.
since my teens.
Would you say
in
that
high
that's
school.
the typical entry for most people in the stunt business?
For the Asian guys,
Yeah.
and that's the thing about Hollywood. Oh, you're Asian, you do martial arts.
Right. You
Just,
can't not do it.
You can
It's
get them
almost
without
like,
it.
Yeah, it's almost like that expectation exists.
Yes.
And when they see your name on the list, hey, we got a stunt man coming today. Hey, you know what? Why don't we just put him in the fight scene?
Yeah.
So from here you can do this, and you can jump the horse over the thing, or you can jump the car over the thing, and then from here, why don't you get a second gig this afternoon at 2:00? You can go with the second unit, and they're going to go shoot this fight. And if you're an Asian guy and you go, oh yeah, I don't fight. Yeah.
Well, most of the guys I know in the business, the Asian brothers are martial artists.
Yeah.
And everyone's different. You have your kung fu, karate guys, taekwondo, kali. Everyone has their
discipline.
system. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I started out in kung fu.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Southern style Chole foot, and came down here. I started working out with a couple other guys in the business, continuing my kung fu practice, and then I met and worked with Brandon Lee, who became my best friend down here in L.A. And so I got.
Well, that's pretty good.
Wow, holy cow! And you guys became best friends.
Yeah, I actually was his trainer. I became his trainer.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's. I met him. I think it was like maybe '87. When I first got down here, my main goal was to get my SAG card. I
Okay.
had to get into the union.
Yeah.
And so while I was doing that, I was doing extra work just to get my foot in the door. A lot of stunt guys, that's how they started out too.
Yeah, you got to stack up the cards, right? So,
Yeah, start getting experience being on the set. And, you check out the stunt guys, how they're working and
Mhm.
relating with each other. You have your stunt coordinator, then he's got his crew. And it was interesting. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I'm going, okay.
Everybody's got their team, right? So most
yeah.
coordinators have their roster
Yeah.
of guys they use.
Yeah, they have their little group. There's little cliques here and there.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of different guys. Then you have your different groups like the Stuntmen's Association, Stunts Unlimited, Brand X. And you don't have to belong to one of those groups to work,
Right.
but it's nice to, belong to a group. I work for all these groups. I'll get calls from a coordinator here and there. But, yeah, you don't necessarily have to belong to a group to work. Yeah, most of it is like your reputation.
Yeah.
They know what your abilities are, capabilities, and you get the call.
Sure.
Yeah, can
so
use
you
him for this.
might not necessarily be tied in with a bunch of guys who work together all the time, but when somebody needs an Asian guy who can ride a horse, they go, "Oh yeah, remember
We know that
You
guy."
know Darryl?
Yeah, yeah.
Call Darryl."
And it's a funny thing because I've done a lot of horse work. You know, I came down here getting in, you know, through martial arts, and
Yeah.
then back in those days, there weren't as many stunt guys that there are now, the Asian guys. Back then, when I first moved here, maybe about 30 guys, Asian guys.
That's
now,
it?
Back in the
Yeah,
80s.
back then.
And they were working all the time.
Yeah.
But now you got all these young, you know, young whippersnappers getting into the business, and it's like triple that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these guys are flying.
And there's so much the arts in general have advanced to the point where, like you said, these guys are flying, man. These young guys are just doing, their capabilities are ridiculous.
Yeah, some of these guys, I'm looking at them going, wow, this guy's getting some air up there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to do that.
Yeah. Man.
Well, yeah, that's the question is what's the career arc for a stuntman? I mean, you move into the higher levels and do more planning and coordinating and stuff, or
Yeah, when you start coordinating, just like being the chief, and then you got your soldiers,
right?
you know, your captain, soldiers. That's what every stunt guy eventually wants to do, coordinate, because you're running the show and
Sure.
you do the hiring. You know, most of the guys are trying to get work. We call it hustling.
Uh-huh.
You go out to a set. If you don't know the coordinator, or you may know him, you just go out there and just say hello.
Hang
Let 'em
around.
let them know you're available.
Larry, what's up?
Yeah, hang
What's
around
going on? You know,
without really
being
being
in
a
the way.
pest. Yeah,
Right.
You know, because in this business, it's like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
There's so many times where, you know, I'll bump into a coordinator friend and go, "Oh, Darryl, oh man,
Dude, I
I
had
could
the
have
perfect
used you. I
gig
could have
for
just
you.
used you last week."
I just forgot.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going, "Oh man." He goes, "Yeah, you know, a couple guys came out," and I said, "Yeah, I could use you." And then I'm seeing you now, and I could have used you,
Yeah.
but you know, you don't see them all the time. Like I said, out of sight, out of mind.
You got a network in the stunt business just like any other business.
Yes, yeah. A lot of guys do that, you know.
So tell us about the horse thing, though, because when you came down here, were you already, like, did you grow up around horses? Or you?
Well, I did a lot of fishing with my dad.
Okay.
Growing up, he had friends that had ranches and dairy farms in Petaluma.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we would go up there, God, at least 2-3 weekends every month to go fishing. My mom wasn't crazy about that. "You guys are going fishing again?"
Yeah.
You know, we go fishing. They had these ponds for their livestock, and they would stock it with bass, black bass, you know, bluegills. And so we go and fish at these private ponds. Going up there, I'd see my dad's friends' kids on horses, you know, on the property, going, "Oh man, I want to ride a horse." And my dad would say, "No, we came up here to fish. Don't bother them." But his friends would say, No, he can ride with our kids." And so basically, that's how I got introduced to it and started getting my experience with horses. But I didn't know what I was doing, right? I was,
Yeah.
you know, a little city kid. But my dad, he brought us out there all the time because he wanted his boys to also have a little country in them,
Right.
not just be city slickers.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Understand
so-
what a little dirt on your hands
Yeah,
meant,
so
not be
we-
afraid of it.
Yeah, so we did that a lot. And so anyway, going up there, they would throw me on the horse, and I look over at the kid next to me, you know. Okay, I would
Is
just
that where you
copy
put
him.
your feet?
I'm
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a hanger-oner.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know what I was doing. You know, giddy up, you know. And it wasn't until down here in L.A. when Brandon and I were at a gym, we were working out. This guy walks up to us because Brandon and I are just messing around, throwing punches at each other. And so this guy comes over and he asks us, "Are you guys training for a movie?" We said, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, yeah, we are." And he goes, "Oh,
Were you
okay."
training for a movie or just working out?
We were preparing for the movie.
Yeah.
And
Which one?
Rapid Fire we were doing.
Man, I love that movie. I love
Yeah.
that kick that he threw through the railing. You know, where he busted the banister.
Oh, yeah,
kicked
yeah.
The dude on the other side of the
Yeah.
banister. Anyway, I digress. You were probably the dude on the other side of the railing.
I was there that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when Brandon rides the motorcycle in there also.
Okay.
Right through the
Yep.
glass casings. Well, anyway, yeah, this guy starts asking us questions, and so he goes, "Well, I'm a trainer too," and I'm looking at him, and without trying to be, you know, impolite, because he was a little guy, like the size of a jockey, just a little bit bigger, And so I'm going, what are you training? He goes, well, I'm a horse trainer. He goes, I train horses and I train people to ride for shows.
Right.
I said, oh, that's cool. And he asked me if I rode. I went, well, and I just told him the same story I
Yeah.
told you. Well, I was
hang on.
Yeah, I was a hanger-on, as a kid, and I said I never really had formal lessons. And he goes, well, tell you what, I don't know what I'm doing in the gym here. If you train me in the gym, you can come down to my riding academy, and I'll get you to ride like a pro. I'll get you to jump and everything. I went,
That's invaluable.
cool. Yeah, so I went, okay. So we started to barter.
Yeah.
And so I remember the first time I went down to his riding academy, and he brings this tall thoroughbred. He was like over 17 hands, about 17.2, which is a tall horse.
Yeah.
I'm looking at him going, whoa, I think I need a box to get up on this guy, because the stirrup was pretty high. And so I'm looking at him going, hey, I'm looking at the saddle, because I grew up on Western saddles. Now this guy, he does English and dressage. And, it's a lot different, the tack, the saddle, the stirrups and all. And I'm going, where's my horn?
Yeah.
And he goes, nope, you're not going to be doing Western here. And that's when I realized a lot of the English riders and cowboys, the Western guys, they kind of butt heads with that. It's like, the English guys, like, oh, you're going to learn the proper way. Cowboys. Pff.
Yeah.
And the cowboys, English. Oh, they're a bunch of pussies,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll learn whatever way you're going to teach me, because, you're the teacher here.
Right.
And
That would be like if he walked into your environment and said, no, man, that's not how you box. I learned how to box, and I do this. And you're like, I'm trying to teach you,
yeah.
you know?
You got to open your mind, just
Yeah.
like Bruce,
That's right.
Jeet Kune Do is like,
Yeah.
absorb what is useful,
Uh-huh.
Right.
And so I started taking my lessons from him. I'm probably a little over a couple years. Then I got my own horse after that. And I've had my horse now for about 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's helped me a lot with my skills. Actually taking the lessons on the English saddle really rose my confidence level.
Sure.
Because it's like the difference, the saddles are, it's like a Harley Davidson seat compared to a Schwinn bicycle seat. I mean, it's just two different types of seats.
Yeah.
And even how you, control the horse.
The technique
So,
is different
yeah.
based on the equipment.
Yeah, a lot different. So,
What does that mean? So if you don't have a horn, that means that you're really hanging onto the reins. You use your feet more.
You use your legs,
Yeah.
but actually, that horn isn't really for you to just hold on and ride. A lot of times,
See, look, I would be hanging onto the horn. You'd be like, dude, you're gonna get dropped.
Well, yeah, if you're gonna fall, you grab that horn because you don't want to fall. That's a
Yeah.
long way down.
It's a long
Yeah.
way down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it hurts. But the horn, when they like ropers,
Yeah.
cowboys when they lasso.
That's what they tie to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's like a trailer
Yeah.
hitch almost.
Yeah.
And then a dressage, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know for sure, but you're more trying to look like you're not riding a horse, whereas the Western style, it's a little more
Yeah.
bouncy, maybe.
Yeah. It's they call it posting, doing half seat. It's different when you see
It's more controlled and more graceful, it seems like.
It's just a different style,
Yeah.
I actually prefer being in Western saddle because I can. You can relax in both saddles, but to me, it's more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you learned that discipline, which gave you a different, more varied set of tools. You're more
Yeah.
comfortable on the Western saddle. What do you work in more often at work? How often do you get a call to ride a horse?
Well, I just got one.
So they come up.
Yeah, they come up, and usually,
And do they say, will you bring your own horse?
no, I don't want to use mine for any
Okay.
stunt work because I don't want him to get hurt.
Yeah.
Usually, when I get called, they have a trained stunt horse, whether he's a rearing horse who's
Okay.
going to stand up on them.
That's a specialty for a horse, huh?
Yeah. So you have rearing horses, falling horses, jumpers.
Ah.
So
That makes
when
sense.
I get out there, it's like, okay, what am I going to, well, when they call me, I say, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like, okay, after taking these lessons and getting better at my horse skills, my very first call was to do this, double this actor. Remember Soon Tak Oh, the Korean actor? You've seen him in a bunch of stuff.
I'm sure.
He's been around.
Yeah.
But they wanted me to double him, and it was a fantasy. And the horse was supposed to be a unicorn. So they had this really beautiful white Andalusian out there, and they shaved little part of his forehead, and they glued this little styrofoam golden horn on him to make him look like a unicorn. So that was kind of cool.
Wow.
But when they called me for it, said, "What do you want me to do?" 'Cause I always ask, "What gag you want me to do?" Because
It's a fair question if you're a stuntman.
Yeah. Because I want to make sure I can do it. Because you don't want to go out there and go, "Oh, well, I never did this before."
I don't do backflips.
Yeah.
So said, "We need you to ride this horse bareback, freehand, and jump him." I said, "Well, I've jumped, but not bareback and not freehand.
Right.
Freehand is no reins,
Yeah.
no bit." So I'm going, "Well, what do I hold on to?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just grab a handful of mane. Basically, you're just going for the ride. Went, "Oh man!" I said, "Well, I never did that before, so I don't want to go out there looking stupid. I want to be able to do it." "Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine." I went, "No, but did you hear me? I've never done that."
This is the dude who's
Right.
not going to do the shot.
Yeah. So he said, "No, you'll be fine." They couldn't get any other guys.
That's why you were
It
going to
should
be
be
fine.
it should be a clue.
Yeah, you're perfect for this.
There's a couple other Asian guys I know that are starting to get into horses, because usually my name is the first one that comes up now when it comes to the Asian guys that do horses, because everyone
If
does martial
somebody
arts.
needs Genghis Khan,
Yeah.
they get Darryl Chan.
Yeah, I just played Genghis Khan.
Of course.
Well, actually, it was a couple of years ago. It was the Progressive Insurance commercial.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw that one. when the
Yeah,
Mongolian
absolutely.
guys. Yeah, I was the leader, and I had my Mongolian warriors flanking me in my left
Sure.
and right.
Right.
We ride up to Flo,
Uh-huh.
and I yell, "Killer!" That was a fun day, crazy day. But yeah, the thing about
That was a crazy day.
Yeah. That was Genghis
So,
Khan.
well, I used to be in the Army, and I worked at a cavalry post, and they had a ceremonial cavalry unit, with everything. And my buddy was in it, and he's like, "Come out and try." I'm like, "All right, I'll try." And I'm somewhat athletic, and like they start you out on, like the angry horse, but bareback. Because the thing is, John, when you ride these things, they do a charge. You pull out a sword, and you just go
Right.
fast as you
You
can.
want to talk about hanging on for the
Yeah,
ride.
because like you do the ceremonial
And
walk
you
around
point the
slow,
sword forward.
and then they do a charge.
Yeah.
and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like you see these guys go by, and you're like, God, I couldn't imagine being in combat with these four. I mean, I don't know how fast these horses are going, but it's fast, faster than a human could ever run. And there's some guy, and you're going to lose your stirrup. That's the thing. It's like you're going to fall out of your stirrup because you're going so fast, and you're riding so close. Something's going to bump. You have to be able to hang on. 'Cause if you don't, you're flipping off that thing with a sword, with a gun, at 35, 40 miles an hour, however the hell fast horses go.
They go that
Coming
fast.
down from 8 feet high.
Yeah, crazy. So I get the whole like, yeah, just jump it. Don't have anything to hold on. Like that isn't how it works. Like you've got to be ready for that.
Yeah.
And I did it for one night, and I got thrown off the horse, and I'm like, I'm done. That hurts. I don't like that. Like I hurt my back for like a year after that.
Yeah.
It was
If you're not prepared for it,
Yeah.
the thing is, if you are prepared to do a horse fall or saddle fall, at least you know it's coming.
Right.
And you're prepared on how you're going to roll with it.
Right.
If it comes unexpectedly, it's like, oh man, shit.
I had limbs tumbling out and running into
ribs,
stuff.
Yeah.
and just oof, and just lay on the ground, or just wait for the pain to not be at a 20. Like way
Yep.
off the scale.
So what happened with the jump? Did you make the jump on the unicorn?
It's a funny story. The first attempt, okay, I'm on the horse.
First attempt.
The wranglers are the guys that bring the horses.
Yeah.
And they make sure everything's cool with the horses and the actors and stunt people.
Okay.
So they pretty much tell you, they.
And they're in charge, right? Because you have the animal safety is foremost.
Yeah.
Your safety is foremost, and they're in charge of the animal safety. So nobody can tell him what to do, because
No,
he can
he-
always say, "Hey, no, this is my horse," and he's not doing that.
Yeah. And sometimes they'll mess with you. They'll give you a horse that's going to be a little difficult if they don't like you, But
Motherfuckers.
They had two horses out there for this. And anyway, the one I was on, when we approached the jump, I go, okay. I was talking to the wrangler. He goes, yeah, just pretty much just grab a handful of mane, just approach that jump, and I'll be right on the other side. So, okay, take one. We're running right up to the jump, and he runs around it instead. I went, oh, man. Now he knows he can get away with this. He can run around it.
Yeah.
Take two, approach it, runs around. I'm going, I'm throwing my hands up in the
doesn't
you
wanna
know
do
in the
it.
air,
Yeah, you
looking
don't
at the
have
guys. I went,
reins.
sorry, man, I
Yeah.
can't control them.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
To control the horse, you got to have the reins.
Yeah.
The bit control his head. So the wrangler goes, all right. He gets his whip out. He goes, I'm going to stand right here, closer to the jump. I'm going to crack my whip. I'm going to call him, and he's going to come right to me, straight line. So he's going to jump this time. So you just hang on. All right. Approached it, jumps over it. So that was smooth. And the director, let's do that again.
Let's go again.
I'm
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
oh man, I thought that one was good.
That was money. You
know?
better print that one.
But sometimes they want more than one shot for insurance and all that. So,
Right.
all right, here we go again. Approached it, jumped it. But this time I came a little bit off his back, and I came down on his wither. The wither's in between the neck and the back where you got that little bump. I came down right where it hurts.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh, yeah.
I was doubled over on the horse when we
It's amazing how those fit in a wither.
And the crew guys that were close by, they ran over. Darryl, you all right? I'm like,
Yeah.
did you see that? Oh, yeah, we saw that.
We're printing that one for sure.
The director comes over. Okay, that's enough. Yeah, that first one would do. But that's what I said, the first one, man. We did that second one for nothing.
John and Pete.
Hey, everybody, if you like the Break It Down show,
I can dig it.
And of course you do.
of course you do, hit that subscribe button.
John and Pete.
It helps us out.
Hey, if you're going to like the show on Facebook or on Twitter, it helps us out if you share the show so people can learn about it. So liking it is great. Sharing is even better.
Let's do some spy stuff.
Yeah, just
Let's
sneak
get
in
all
there.
our friends' phones and have them subscribe to the Break It Down show. Do it. Subscribe. Listen to the show. If you love the show, tell 5 of your friends. Or if you hate the show, tell 5 of your friends.
So how
You
does
just
that
do what
work
you-
in terms of compensation? I mean, you're taking the risk 4 times total. I mean, is you're going to charge them a daily rate? I mean, you're not charging them by the jump, are you?
No, well, usually that's up to the stunt coordinator on your stunt adjustment.
Okay.
Stuntman,
Because certain gags are really, really big to set up and execute.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a stunt adjustment for these.
Yeah.
And if you want to go again, okay, but you're paying for this rig
break
all
out
over
the credit
again,
card
right?
swiper, yeah.
well, the coordinator usually keeps track of that because all the stunt guys we get paid on a union scale.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
Whether it's a daily or a weekly.
Right.
And the coordinator usually knows how many times you're doing this certain gag, whether it's a horse jump or a high fall. You do a high fall and you got to do it like maybe 3-4 times. He's going to pay you for that 3-4 times you're
Right.
doing it instead of just paying you your scale. He goes, okay, the higher,
The more.
obviously, the more.
Yeah.
You get your stunt adjustments are based on like the degree of danger and difficulty involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the higher degree of difficulty or danger also equals, I'm hoping, like the higher quality stunt person too. Like you, I might start today. I can't go jump off a 6-story tower no matter how much they pay me. Like the guy that gets paid well is the guy that.
Yeah, you have guys that specialize in certain stunts.
Right.
And usually the high fall guys are like great high dive guys. You know, I've done a 30-foot high fall. I've gone up to 100 feet looking down. Looking down from up there, went, nah, I don't think so. This ain't my gig.
I
Yeah.
like riding horses.
But, you know, there
You
are a
guys
lot
need
of...
a unicorn. Give me a bus.
I don't need no reins or nothing.
But, you know, there are a lot of stunt guys who make, 6 figures a year easily just staying on the ground. I know a couple of stunt guys who aren't like me. I'm not really comfortable with heights. Like that, 100-foot high fall, I'm looking down. I didn't feel comfortable with that.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
I bet.
I'll kill myself if I jump off of this. Because the thing is, when the high dive champions, if they overturn or something, they can always correct themselves easily.
Yeah.
If I overturn, I'm like, oh, man, where am I?
Right. Your familiarity with that particular discipline's a little
Yeah.
less than makes you comfortable at that
Yeah.
height.
Yeah, so they got guys that specialize like motorcycles, cars,
Right.
horses, the fights, the martial arts, So it's good to be as well-rounded as you can because you want to be open for, more jobs instead of just being thought of for one thing.
Right. Were you born with a natural physical intelligence that's higher than the average person? I mean, obviously you developed whatever you've got, but were you one of those kids that could just hop on a balance beam and stay up there all day kind of thing?
No, I always had to work on it. Like, you know, it wasn't as easily, you know, done like some of my friends. And
Yeah.
oh, man, you know, I would try it a few times and I'll land on my back or something.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But you had enough confidence to go, I'm going to move to L.A. and be a stuntman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my brothers, my best friends back home. You're going to do what?
Yeah.
I bet.
And actually, one of my best friends that I've known since I was like 3 years old, he was down here staying with me, and he kind of opened up and confessed. He goes, man, I didn't think you were going to last this long. He goes, honestly, I thought you would have been back home in a year. And
We all thought you were fucking crazy.
yeah. And he was really happy for me. He goes, I'm so glad that, you know, you're doing it. Back in 2002, I was nominated at the Taurus Awards. The Taurus Awards is the World Stunt Awards.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got nominated for Planet of the Apes. That was
Nice.
the remake. The
Oh,
one with
you
Mark
rode a horse
Wahlberg.
in that.
I doubled Kerry Tagawa and did his horse work on that show.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that one. On one night, we we had a bad night. We were in Lake Powell, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, whenever anyone thinks of Arizona, desert. It's going to be warm. It's going to be hot down there. And they said, yeah, it'll be pretty nice down there. So we're down there, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and we had to swim into the lake with the horses. Well, it's 3 in the morning. It's like, 28 degrees
Wow.
and lightly snowing.
Oh.
Wow.
It's like, oh, man, we got to go into this water.
And that shit was cold.
It was really cold. When we first went into the waters, like, 6 or 7 of us stunt doubles on horses. Some of the horses were doing 180s. They didn't want to go in that water. So
Right.
both
Not
you turn
dumb.
around, they're going, I'm getting out of
I'm
here.
out of here.
And so my horse, we went to the water. He was fighting it. He wasn't comfortable with that. And he was a black horse with a white stripe here. And we're going into the water, and the first, 15 seconds was okay. He's going in, and all of a sudden, he starts sinking. I'm looking at him, and I can see the white stripe. All of a sudden, his head's on the water. I'm like, oh, no. And he just kept on going deeper and deeper. I went, I got to bail. I got to get off his back, because I'm extra weight.
Yeah.
And I got off of him. I'm treading water. And I'm like, I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh, man, did he have a heart attack or, from the cold,
Right.
in this water? And I'm just treading water, and all of a sudden, poof, he surfaces. And he's like, he's wigged out.
Yeah. He doesn't like this.
Yeah, and so the director, Tim Burton, and coordinator and all of them are going, Darryl, you got to get back on him. You got to get on him. So I swam to the horse, and I'm trying to get back on him. So I grabbed the horn. I'm trying to pull myself back on the saddle. But every time I did that, I'm pulling him down.
Oh, shit.
Now, I'm doubling Kerry Tagawa, who's a gorilla. So I'm wearing this gorilla, the muscle suit.
Yeah.
My muscles
Man.
were out the here.
Yeah.
So it's like I was a big sponge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I had the wardrobe over that.
Yeah. So you were heavy.
I was heavy. And I got on. I was trying to get on him. And every time I tried, I pull him down. So
Yeah.
I said, forget, I'm not going to kill this horse.
Sure. Right. Right.
So I just yelled back, I can't get on him. Every time I try, I'm pulling him down. So I'm not going to do that to him. And so the horse made it to the back to the bank. And I got out. And he said, Darryl, you got 5 minutes. You got to get back on that horse. We got to get you on this horse. And they're putting the camera on a little raft.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get the close-up like this as I'm swimming in water with the horse. Oh, and
So they want to get you in a close-up. You're swimming in the water with the horse.
yeah, and to get the camera on a little raft, like
Okay.
a dinghy. And so I'm walking over to the horse, but I'm walking like 2 inches at a time.
Uh-huh.
Quit messing around. I'm going, I'm not messing around, man. I'm heavy.
Yeah.
Went over to the horse, and I couldn't even get my foot halfway up to the stirrup. I was like,
Wow.
Yeah.
All your stuff just weighed too
Yeah,
much.
I'm going,
You're
"Oh,
waterlogged.
man." And so I said, "I need help over here." And they thought I was messing around. So one guy comes over. He tries to help me up. And he goes, "Oh, man, I need 2 more guys over here and bring an apple box." So it took 3
Wow.
guys to lift me up back onto the horse.
Wow.
I was heavy. They thought they were estimating that I weighed probably like 400 or 500 pounds. I was
bet.
really heavy.
Bet.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the stuff you don't think about. Even if you're a stunt coordinator, like how often do you have someone in a gorilla suit in the water to
Yeah.
like have that knowledge? Be like,
Yeah.
oh, he's gonna weigh 600 pounds. We've got to do flotation instead of sponges or whatever it's gonna be. Yeah.
So was there a particular gag, or was that the gag that earned you the nomination?
No, it was a fight scene, a mid-air collision. I was fighting the Michael Clark Duncan character.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the bad ape, and Kerry Tagawa was playing Krull, who was
The ape with
the ape
conscience.
who yeah exactly,
Yeah.
who was helping the humans. Oh, but getting back to that horse thing,
Uh-huh.
we had to swim back, and I did that close up. And it was really weird the way this setup was on location there, because we started off on a sandbar. The water level was a little low, so it was a sandbar where we started, and then we would go into the water to the bank. So we were out in the lake on a
Yeah.
sandbar, and we had to swim to the bank. That was the first part. Now we're on the bank and swing back to the sandbar. But on the sides, left and right sides, there was the cliff walls. So it was just, you just got to go this way. You couldn't go that way.
Yeah,
that way.
right. It was deep.
Yeah, well, the middle part was deep, about 10, 12 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And as it got closer to the cliff wall, about 3 feet, it got shallower, right? Because the lake bed starts, slanting up.
Yeah.
And so we're going back. He goes down again. He sinks. And I bailed again. I said, I'm not going to be
Yeah,
responsible for this horse drowning. And so I swam over closer to the
To the bank.
cliff wall.
cliff wall, right?
Yeah. And there wasn't really, any land where you can, walk up. It was like the water went right up to the cliff wall. And so I'm like on my knees, and I'm just trying to get my breath back. The water was about up to my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And the horse, now he's swimming towards me because I'm his rider, and he's trying to get it out from the deep water. So he comes towards me, and I guess what happened was he felt the ground when he started coming closer to me. So now I guess he figured, oh, I can run now.
Mm-hmm.
And when he lunged, all of a sudden he rears up. So he's standing straight up. I'm on my knees in the water. I'm looking at him. He's like about 4 feet away from me. I'm just looking straight up going, oh, man. And all of a sudden, timber, he falls over right on top of me.
Oh my God.
Holy shit. You got a 1,000-pound horse on top of you
yeah.
all of a sudden.
And you weigh 600 pounds, so you can't even move to get out of the way.
Yeah. So I'm on my knees. He falls right on my torso. And now I'm underwater.
Yeah.
Because he's on top of me. And he's like freaking out. He's trying to keep his head above water. And he's thrashing with his his legs.
He's not thinking, I'm not going to be responsible for this stunt, man.
No. You got on me and we're heavy here. I'm on you. Leave me alone. Yeah.
So I'm holding my breath.
I bet.
Oh man. I'm like, I'm shitting bricks. I'm going, oh man, I'm going to drown because I'm just holding my breath. And he was just too much weight for me to push off.
You can't push, yeah.
And we had every stunt guy that was on a horse in that scene we had 2 scuba guys, 2 safety guys,
Right.
in case something happened when we were in deep water. Well, the other guys made it to where we were supposed to go, point B, and they're waiting for me to come around on the horse. Where's Darryl? My safety guys. He's under.
Oh my gosh.
And
Shit.
now, everyone's like, oh shit. And finally, I couldn't hold my breath any longer. And that's when I really started to panic. I said, oh man, this is it. I said, I'm going to drown, because your natural instinct when you can't hold your breath any longer is like,
yeah.
and that's what I did. I took my breath, and now I'm taking in water.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, not now, God. Not yet. And
I got a date on Saturday.
But luckily, and the safety guys couldn't get to me because
You were under a 1,000-pound horse at the edge of the cliff.
they couldn't wedge between me and the cliff wall.
Right.
There wasn't enough room here. And on this side, that
Horse
is going
yeah,
crazy.
he's kicking everywhere. So they're like, oh man, they couldn't get to me. Finally, the horse did get up, and they rushed me straight to the medics. I had a few broken ribs. My
bet.
back was messed up because I was lying on rocks.
Oh.
Some
Yeah.
rocks along my spine, so I had rocks on my spine, the horse on top of me.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of weight.
600-pound suit.
Yeah, even if you had
1,200-pound
air.
horse.
Right. Even if you had air, could you have even been able to breathe at all? I mean, I know, like, I had my foot stepped on by a horse one time, and the horse didn't know. He just like dunk, stepped on my foot, and I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
get off my foot! And you push, and the horse is like, are you giving me a massage? That leans in, and you're like, not lean in. It's just that's just a piece of a horse, like the
Yeah.
whole thing. How could you even? Oh man, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I've been stepped on. You know, your first reaction is,
Get off of me! Yeah, yeah.
I've been stepped on, been kicked.
Oh.
Horses fall on me. Actually, a couple shows. Yeah, it's no fun when they fall on you. That's a lot of weight.
Man. So what kind of work are you doing most now?
A lot of times it's, playing the bad guy roles.
A lot of fighting.
Yeah, a lot of fight stuff. Getting beat up.
Mm-hmm.
Can your mom bear to watch you do your work, or does she like lose her mind?
Well, my mom is gone now, but when she
Okay.
was here, you
Yeah.
know, I think between me and one of my younger brothers, who is a SWAT cop
Oh,
in
Jesus.
San Francisco, between the
did
two of
give
us,
her a break.
two of us, she was like, "Oh, you guys."
Yeah.
How many brothers do you have?
I've got 3 brothers, 1 older, 2 younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys just made a hard time for your mom. She made her
Yeah,
worry.
we must have.
That's what happens when you have
Yeah.
masculine children.
Yeah. They do
You
dumb
know?
masculine stuff.
Yep.
We must have drove our parents crazy. 4 boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, of course, all of us. There's the teenage years where you think you know it all.
Oh man.
My dad's gone now too, but my dad he was the most intelligent man I ever knew. A lot of people used to go to my dad for advice.
Huh.
Yeah. When he passed, we were at the mortuary, the funeral home, and the place was packed. There was about 1,000 people there. There were so many people that there was a line that came out from the funeral
Wow.
home and went around the whole block.
Wow.
It was a lot of people.
Your dad was a
Not-
great guy.
Yeah, he was.
Obviously.
Yeah, it was amazing. There were people that were coming up to me that I didn't even know. Some older guys, older gentlemen, and they're saying, "You don't know me, but your dad made a big difference in my life."
Wow.
And they're sharing stories with me. I'm going, "Wow, I never knew that." About my dad. My dad never boasted about anything. He was there to help a lot of people. But my dad was he was a tough guy too. I mean, and actually growing up, he didn't do the hitting. My mom did.
You knew you didn't want him to. It was like if it was his turn, you were going, "Oh shit." I mean, did he always take the back seat, or was he the guy who every once in a while he'd act like he was sitting up, and you'd be like, "No,
Yeah.
I'm good."
All it took was a look
Yeah.
from him. I said, "Oh, sorry, Dad." My mom, when we were kids, she would, once you hear her open that kitchen drawer, here comes the wooden spoon.
Man, that's a bygone era.
It is,
I feel like kids don't get disciplined with a wooden spoon anymore.
And so, such a fine line now. But everyone is saying, "Oh, that's child
And
abuse."
let's say, let's say for the sake of argument that it's better that kids aren't getting hit with a wooden spoon. But you know what? I knew when I was out of line, and I knew when I need to get back in line.
Yeah, I totally agree that if your kid is really misbehaving, being really bad, good spanking. I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I think I turned out okay. It's not like I was on a clock tower. I'm gonna get you.
Well, when you mentioned that kind of generational upbringing, back then there was a different set of expectations, and we extended people a different kind of respect.
Yep. Yeah.
And a lot of people can say, "Oh, you don't have to." And I've been very fortunate. I don't have to really whoop my kids up too much. By now they're bigger, stronger, and I probably shouldn't give it a try. But the fact is that I didn't put my hands on my kids very often. You know, that little swat on the butt when they really needed it, when they weren't responding to other communication. I was very lucky. I didn't have to do that very often. But
Well, that's good. You're lucky.
yeah,
know?
but I know that I'm lucky, you know, because there's some kids who just don't get it, and they need to be, you know, made physically aware. Hey, this is the line.
Yeah, they got to be
Don't come up to
reprimanded.
this.
Yeah.
Don't come up to this line.
Boys do sometimes need that physical reset. They
Yep.
need that contact, not to abuse,
Yeah.
but just to say, boom, you've bumped into something that you misjudged.
Yep.
Correct your judgment.
Too
you
far.
know? Yeah, exactly.
Get back. So, you know, I'm for that. And with 4 boys who obviously grew up tough enough to enter the stunt business, to be a SWAT cop, and your other 2 brothers, what do they do?
One, my older brother, he worked for PG&E.
Okay.
For God, he just retired about a year or 2 ago. So he's enjoying life now. He just became a grandfather.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. My other brother lives in Florida. He used to work in San Francisco as, you know, one of those meter minders.
Yeah.
But he hates it when people say meter
Meter
maids.
maid.
I'm not a maid.
Right.
I'm on a maid.
Meter minder.
Yeah. But he was working, and this old guy was driving his car, and he ran a red light, and he hit my brother. And you know, the meter minders, they would drive those 3-wheel
In
motorcycles,
the little
with the
3-wheel
cushions.
interceptor. Yeah.
And he hit my brother, and the bumper of the car pinned his foot between the bumper and the bike.
Ooh.
So my brother flew off the bike.
But his foot stayed.
Yeah, so it whipped him back, and it has never healed properly. He's real soon right now. It's just been so many years that now it's finally come down to he's going to lose his leg.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and they're going to take it off at the hip. It's
Ooh.
pretty
Wow.
high. It's
Wow.
way up there.
Ouch.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
kidding.
so I feel real bad for what he's been going through. A lot of pain.
And you're the one with the dangerous job.
Yep.
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 How about shooting? You do much shooting?
With my SWAT brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for recreation? You're not doing a lot of
Yeah.
stuff shooting?
I have friends that are really into guns.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't own a gun, other
Okay.
than a little pellet gun.
Yeah.
My brother though, he's got
Yeah.
quite a
He's a SWAT
few.
cop.
Yeah. And so when I go home, he bring me to the range and.
And he takes
which
you-
one you want to shoot?
He
So,
takes,
oh,
he takes you
yeah.
to the police range too, huh?
Yeah,
So you get
yeah.
to do drills and
Yeah.
stuff. But you don't incorporate that in your work.
Well, I've shot everything in all the films and TV shows I've done. Handguns, Uzis.
Well, you're an Asian
AKs.
stunt man. You got to double for all the guys who are, like you said, you play bad guys.
You
So
gotta
you
be
got
a
to show up
cartel.
with the Uzi and empty
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah, and it's fun shooting them, but you never know.
Yeah.
I wonder how my aim is really.
Yeah.
And so when I go out with my brother, I can see,
Yeah, that it's harder than it looks.
Yeah.
That it's
And-
harder
Especially
than
movie style
that it's
shooting.
harder than you make it look.
Yeah. Like movie style
Yeah.
shooting isn't even really a practical way to actually deploy most of those weapons. Like just the squeeze and hold the trigger down. You're not hitting anything.
Yeah.
You know?
The thing when you work with the guns too, they always have a special weapons expert.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And
Just Ice Cube holding a gun like this.
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of guys,
The
can't-
horizontal-
especially a lot of
horizontal
you
ghetto
can't
grip.
stand it when you see these guys.
Yeah.
No one shoots a gun like that, but
Yeah.
it just
It's
makes
got
them look more like a
attitude.
thug, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we always cheat the angles when you're shooting at each other, which is something that wasn't done on The Crow
Right.
with Brandon.
Yeah.
That was a horrible thing there. But yeah, working with guns, they don't mess around, especially after Brandon's accident.
How many years did you guys get to enjoy a friendship before he passed on?
I first met him, it was like around 86, 87 I first met him. So it wasn't really a whole lot of years.
Yeah.
But there were quality years. We hung out a lot, like especially when I was training him for his movies. We're with each other like
Yeah, you
6 days
spend
a
each
week.
other. You spend a lot of time with each other.
Yeah, yeah. He was a funny guy.
Yeah.
He was a practical joker, a clown. He made me laugh every day.
Wow.
And some of them were really deep belly laughs where your stomach is
Yeah.
just hurt and you go, oh man, your eyes are tearing up. He was a funny guy. That's what he loved to do. In
Yeah.
fact, that's how we became friends, just throwing jokes at each other on the set. He goes, hey, Darryl. Well,
You
first-
started to say how you guys met.
Uh-huh.
How exactly did you guys meet?
Well, at the very first time I met him, I was an extra.
Uh-huh.
Remember that TV show O'Hara
Yeah.
Yeah.
with Pat Morita?
Pat Morita, right.
Brandon was a guest star. I was just an extra. Still trying to get my SAG card at that time.
Yeah.
And we talked a bit, but when we started really hanging out was Showdown Little Tokyo. I was now a stunt guy in the show. And he was now like,
Yeah.
the star. And there he was, throwing jokes. Hey, Darryl, you hear the one about... And he'd throw a joke at me, and I'll crack up. And I'll throw him back at him.
You obviously remembered the meeting with him. Did he remember meeting you?
On O'Hara?
Yeah.
I think he was being polite. He's like, oh, man, that was
a long time ago. Yeah, I remember you.
That was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Because I remember doing that show. And, he's
That's a polite way to say
Yeah.
it. So, what are you working on now that we can look forward to seeing pretty soon?
There's a friend of mine who's going to be coordinating a movie. I actually don't even know the name of it, but he said he's going to get me on stunts, but he's trying to get me on as an actor.
Oh.
And he goes, well, 2 parts I'm going to throw at the director that you can do. One of them is a gardener. And the other one is playing a priest. I said, a priest? He goes, yeah, but it's be a pretty bad part. It's a priest,
the bad priest
who was
the corrupt priest.
a pedophile. Oh, no.
I'll take the gardener.
Yeah. Does the gardener get to hit the priest with a rake? I want to do that one. You've had a long and successful career playing bad guys, so.
Luckily, thank God, still doing it. There will be that time where I'm going to, how much longer am I going to be hitting this ground?
Yeah.
I used to pop up so fast, hit the ground, come right back up.
It takes longer to get up.
Now it's like, let me stretch out a little bit more.
Yeah.
I just did this show two months ago. Actually, I just got over a head injury. I was doing this show, and I fall back against these 55-gallon barrels.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, behind the ones I hit, there was a stack, and the top one was the real metal one.
Yeah.
And it toppled over and hit me right in my head.
Oh, shit.
So it gave me a concussion, compressed neck.
Yeah.
And I had a little dent in my head. It was a hole.
You can't take too many of those.
Oh,
man.
no. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
That wasn't supposed to fall over. So I'm sitting on the ground after getting knocked down, and all of a sudden, bam!
Lights out.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Luckily, it didn't knock me out. It could have been worse. Could have split my skull.
Yeah.
Or broke my neck if it hit me like
Yeah.
that. But the coordinator and the director, oh, Darryl, are you all right? I'm fine. I'm not knocked out. Keep going. I'm okay. But I'm sitting there going, oh, man, that hurt.
Yeah.
And so I put my hand on my head and went, oh, God.
Well, really, when you're concussed, you are knocked out. You just don't have enough sense to know it, Like,
Right.
You're
Right.
just sitting there.
Yeah,
goofing.
yeah.
But you felt the top of your head, and you were
Yeah,
bleeding.
blood, yeah.
And I had blood all over my hand. Went,
Yeah.
oh, man. Oh, wait a minute.
Hey,
I don't think
I'm
I'm
not
okay.
all right.
He held my hand up, and so they brought me straight to the medics.
Yeah.
And they're cleaning me up. And so I'm asking the medic, well, what do you think? Got to go to the hospital and get this stitched up? He goes, well, they won't be able to stitch it up. I say, why not? He goes, because it's not lacerated. It's a hole. You have a hole in your head.
Huh.
He goes, they're not going to be able to stitch this.
Yeah.
I said, well, what are we going to do? He goes, well, you ever hear of a new skin? I said, yeah. And it's like super glue.
Yeah, they just glue your head.
Yeah, they just
Fill the hole.
sealed it, filled the
Yeah.
hole, sealed it. And I said, okay, do what you got to do.
That's crazy.
So they put about 3-4 coats on it, and fanning it, trying to let it dry before they put another coat. Wow. Here I am smelling it. Yeah, that does smell like super glue.
Yeah.
Right. And suddenly my brain is getting glued to the top of my head.
Oh man, this is a trip I never had. To fill a hole in my head with glue. And so after that, went back on set.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we broke for lunch. I had a headache for a few days after that.
Bet.
But I just gonna cowboy up and keep working.
Right.
So we broke for lunch, and I'm sitting there, and one of the other stunt guys, hey, Darryl, you need to go back to the medics. I went, I'm okay. He goes, no, you got blood coming down your forehead right now.
Wow.
I went, oh man, it's bleeding. I went, oh shit. So I went back to the medics. He goes, oh, okay. They'll put a few more coats on.
Wow.
And they did. Went home that night, and I touched it a couple times in the end. what it was like, and started bleeding again. I went, oh man.
You have to get more super glue.
And so, but I didn't have any. I was like, okay, I just sat up for a while. And I was afraid to go to sleep because, you know, what they say
Sure.
about head injuries,
Yeah.
don't go right to
Don't
sleep.
go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I stayed up for a little bit, but I said, I got to get some sleep because I got to be on set at 6 a.m.
All right.
So I got to get some sleep. So I just put a towel over my pillow. So, okay. And elevated my pillow just a little bit, you know, so
Yeah.
I won't be all the way down.
Man, that's taking one for the team.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, but I called my brother. I said, okay, call me tomorrow morning. If I don't answer,
Yeah,
Send help.
yeah. That means I didn't wake up. But I was okay.
Crazy.
But you know what? Just to bring it all home, you do look good, man. You look
Yeah.
terrific.
Oh, thank you, bro.
For a guy with 30 years in as a stunt man, you know, I'm in the executive protection business. So typically, you know, I have to size a guy up because if I got to get, you know, somebody out of the room. So my natural instinct is always, what's my way out? And today is the same as the first day that I met you, which was to look around the room and go, oh, shit.
Go
I'm
somewhere
going to find a
else.
different way. But yeah, man, I hope you continue to enjoy this ride. I hope it lasts however many years you want it to continue to last, and that you escape with the kind of health that allows you the vibrant life that you lead. Because there's a lot of us who tune into your Facebook while you're having a good time, and we go, man, look at this guy. Daryl's living the life.
Yeah.
That's a lot of my friends say, yeah, you're living a life, living a dream. I go, well, it's not as glamorous as you think it is, too, at times, you know.
Living the dream when sometimes a 1,000-pound
drum.
horse is sitting on top of you.
There's some times where the elements like the cold
Yeah.
or the hot.
Right.
When we did Olympus Has Fallen out in Louisiana, we're doing fights out in the sun. It was 117, and it was and it was
humid as hell, too.
I'll show you a picture. I'm wearing a suit,
Oh,
and I was sweating
so hot.
right through the suit.
yeah.
And every time they cut, they go, Darryl, take off that jacket. Give it to them, and they would get
They'd
a,
bring it out, get you a new
a hair
jacket.
dryer.
Yeah.
Because they only had that one suit, so
Oh, shit.
they're using the hair dryer to
Just get the
dry it
moisture
off.
off.
Because it was two-tone now. Instead
Yeah.
of light gray, it was like
Yeah.
the whole back was like dark gray. And of course, when you're giving me back the jacket now, I'm going, oh man, this jacket is hot from the hair dryer. That was even worse. I'm going, oh man, I got to put on a hot jacket back in this hot weather. Man, everyone was getting dehydrated. In fact, one of the stunt guys just got out there one day. We were out there about 3 weeks, but they brought another stunt guy out there, and first day on the set, heat exhaustion. They had to rush him
Yeah.
to the hospital. He passed out on set.
Yeah, pretty much anything above a buck 05, you can't hydrate fast enough to maintain. If you're going to be out there and working, you just can't.
Yeah.
You're going to dehydrate.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
And the thing is also is you want to hydrate, but at the
Yeah.
same time, you're on a set, and
Yeah.
unless you're the star, it's hard to say, I need to go to the bathroom, you know.
Right. Will they
Yeah.
give you an IV in those kind of situations? Like just tap it in, because you can drink, and then if you get behind the pace, you're never going to catch up.
Yeah.
Until you get out of those elements. And,
Yeah.
Because it takes time. You can't just drink a quart and then. I'm
But
good to
sticking
go.
an IV in you allowed you to get your fluids back. without
It gets
having
it
to
back
drink
in
so
a way
much.
that's useful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Faster.
No, I've never seen that, the IVs. There was too many guys out there, too. Just
Yeah.
like, we had about close to 100 stunt guys out there.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. Hey, man,
Yeah.
will you do this with us again?
Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah, we're getting some other stories.
This is
Yeah.
great because
Yeah.
we've had you for over an hour. I mean, you've been very generous with your time and your stories, and
My pleasure, John.
yeah,
It's-
man, if we can get you again,
Yeah, that's
we'll come back
fantastic.
down.
Yeah.
The next time
Yeah.
we do this too, we won't do it in our friend's apartment. We'll do it at a restaurant where we can do this over beers. Have a
Yeah,
good time.
yeah.
Maybe
Sounds
throw a
good.
stunt in there too.
Right.
Like some slap.
Start a
or
fight in a
something.
place
Yeah,
and see,
exactly.
see what
right.
happens.
Get one of those chairs or something.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, thank you, man. It was really fun.
You're welcome.
Darryl Chan, everybody.
All right.